Alright, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Al Jazeera. I am trying to become just a basic analyst for CS2. And today I'm going to be going over all of the key impacts that I saw on a match between Team Matchless and Team Nebula. And I'm going to do it in a way where I'm going to go 3 ups, 3 downs, and I'm going to go explain why each ones are ups and each ones are downs, and just overall trends I see from these teams and what they can improve on in the macro side. Because micro side, we can be honest. We can be like, all right, we need to do better aim. We need to do this. But we're going to start it off with Team Matchless. So 3 ups, 3 downs goes in a way where you have to give 3 ups and then 3 downs. If you're like an IGL or a coach and you're looking at your teammates after a match, this is a great way to both have them focus on the positives while trying to fix the negatives. Because the way you do it is you start off, you say, give me 3 ups, and they have to go and give you 3 ups. They can't just go immediately into the negative being like, oh, but I fucked up this clutch, I did this, I did that. Give me 3 ups. It's like, okay, I had good positioning, cool, give me another one. And you just keep them so they have the mindset of like, all right, I'm doing something right, I just need to do a little bit more. So we're going to start off with the team winner, Team Matchless. They won 13-4 on Nuke. But the first up that I saw was they had a lot of good opening rounds and trades when they didn't get that opening round. So many of their early round success was because they got that first kill, and then the trade frags allowed them to stay in the game when things were tough. The second thing I saw from Team Matchless that was really good was their util usage, especially in the rounds that they won, where you saw them throw a lot of util, a lot of pressure. It might not have been like the most effective, but it still caused a reaction that allowed them to be as effective as they were. And then the last thing was good rotations. This was on CT side. Whenever they got calls of like numbers being on a site, they were rotating fast and they were rotating efficient. They weren't trying to be that little flanky pulling a Kindar and all that. They were trying to get right to the point. And that's what helped them continuously secure rounds or be able to retake sites when needed. But now we're going to get into the 3 downs. And now this was a blowout in every sense of the term, but there are still things you can learn from. So the game plan. One of the biggest things that I saw on the game plan was when there didn't seem to be a game plan, or when it seemed to be a little looser or more of a defaulty, that's when things fell apart for this team. And when I say fell apart, I mean pretty loosely, but towards the end of the first half, that's when Team Nebula was actually getting some ground. And it was because of this whole, there wasn't really a game plan to it. So if we get into the 2-play, the 3D replay, so you see the game plan, even in the pistol, like there's a game plan. Velocity just messes around with them, keeps them outside. People hit A. 4, game plan, they're going outside. Now the first loss, you got 3 players going outside and then 2 being inside, and they're just being surrounded and gunned down. And then you can tell it was a default between the other 2 because they didn't give up. They just gave up bomb. None of the other rounds, they put bomb sitting right there. So the moment they went into that default, they got surrounded, died. Didn't work out too well for them. This time, 2 outside, they want to work both outside and ramp, but they're too far and not worried about the lobby presence, and that's what hurts them. Especially when AB loses his duel. Just the trades start going completely the other way. This one, they're holding out. and it doesn't look like there's an idea of what they want to do, especially when there's a stack completely ready for them. Like you're slow peeking, slow pushing, and two outside, Lucario left, so kind of hard to say that was part of the game plan. Cool. So when you guys had a set piece, or when Team Matchless had a set piece, that's one thing they were on fire. They knew what they were doing. They knew what the goal was. Uh, so I would say that this team's biggest strength is calling off of like out of the start. Um, Good teams to look at when that also do that is Armonti. Uh, and I would say probably Wildcard and other teams that are more focused on this play style. Um, but the defaults would need to get better. Is I think what I'm trying to get at. Another thing is not like when you're peeking these areas, there's not a lot of util. I mean, AB uses some util here, but it's one outside smoke instead of the three that you normally throw. Not a lot of util, not a lot, and you're feeling a lot more pressure, not a lot of time for util, and you're not using util because you don't have the bomb and extraditions. He wants to go for the A play, but it's just not ready, especially when you guys looked like they should have gone B. So use more util, even if you think it's fruitless. Like it shouldn't be a 3-on-3, and you guys are not using this because that's just wasted money. And the last thing I have is more of a nitpicky thing, but I think these 3 smokes are unoptimal. I think if you took this smoke right here and you moved it to around here or here, you would have a much better smoke. Now that's like the nitpicky portion of me, but overall, like you guys did what you intended to do. But another thing with the smokes is you only threw these smokes when you're doing an outside play. It's one of the hard parts about call, like doing stuff off the call, is potentially, and this is something you'd have to work with your team and figure out how to do it, is use these smokes to almost create a fake. Like do a lot of play on your outside, they see these smokes, you go opposite direction. But that's the 3 ups, 3 downs for Team Matchless. Team Nebula, these guys were the ones that lost by only getting 4 rounds. However, there was a lot of good things that I saw from them. Number one being that they were resilient. You look through these rounds, like they're trying some. I've saw 8, 9, 10 different ways that players would play. So even if they were losing rounds constantly, they were consistently trying to change up what they had to find some sort of success. And when you're struggling, and that's like you need to try to find solutions, and they were definitely attempting to do so. Which goes into the next step. Because they were trying to find these solutions, they actually found something they got like that stuck, and they started working with it. And they were just able to string together 3 rounds in a row. Good for them. Like that's exactly what needed. And if they won pistol round, which came down to a 1v1, it very well might have been a completely different game. So overall, like you had a good game plan, or not good game plan, you had good resiliency, and then you kind of started getting into that momentum. And a lot of the times, especially with your T side, you actually had the right idea. You just didn't have the guns, or you didn't have, in some circumstances, the skill. This one's round 15 is a great choice where they're being aggressive, and Sticky has a chance to kill AB, just couldn't do it. which doesn't help him when he's trying to adjust for everything. If he got AB, drops down, or like hears them come up, that's intel. He's still alive. He's still useful. A body is always more useful than a dead one, even if you get information from them. Because now they're worried. Now they want to see where the guy goes. Going back to their CT side, another thing is there like wasn't a lot of trade kills. And I mean, when I say trade kills, I mean impactful trade kills. So, because if we go into the actual match details and we go into like trades, it says there was a substantial amount of trades. But then we go back into the replay and we start actually seeing where these trades are. Like round one, uncontested for the first 2 kills. Uncontested, uncontested. They got contested here, but that's because it was like a 5-on thing. But a lot of these gun rounds, this team was getting a lot of uncontested kills, and it showed. The times where you guys managed to string stuff together is when you had that opener, and this one was just lucky because they went for a trade kill almost immediately. So, despite the fact that it says you had a lot of trade kills, you didn't have the trade kills that were going to help elevate the round, especially when you were being put onto a 4v5, 3v5 constantly. And the positionings itself were not great for it. Like Ox uncontested. If they went ramp, these two actually would have been able to help each other. And same with these guys. But then we start seeing a little bit more disjoint. Like he's not ready to help him. He's not ready to help him. So usually, like when we look at, or at least when you play a normal game of Nuke, you have one guy here, one guy hut, one guy heaven. You let the outside player do his thing. He can survive. Like if Cape wanted to be the outside player, you let Nerdsky just be this guy. I sit here, him playing up around ramp, up around hut. Sorry. Like you probably would have had a much better capability for trade frags. And with the outside player, like communications, as long as he stays alive, he doesn't need to get the kill all the time. He just needs to stay alive, get some intel. Drops can happen faster. You can even do them silently, and then be in position for when they do a secret play, or if they want to go A, you got 3 guns in position. If they take out Bateau, he can now come over, rotate out, help Hell, and then have a 2-prong push from here to retake ramp as you're going down. So I don't like the positionings. It just left a lot in the favor of the other team, especially when they got the entry kill. And then partially into that, and this goes into is the fact that the Opper was almost never activated. And he doesn't change his positioning too much. Like he helped out here once. He was part of the rush another time when they were broke. But when you put the big green in his hand, he stayed in this general region and was always late to the party. Never was able to actually do much. He needs, like, if he wants to be the big green, he wants to be the Opper, he needs to be way more proactive. He needs to start getting those entry kills and start, like, I wouldn't say it's always on him to like get those entries, not the entries, the opening kills, and like alleviate the pressure. But that's one of the main jobs of a modern Opper, is to be that like pressure relief. One click turns it from a 5-on-5 to a 4-on-5. And that is a massive difference. Especially when they're running to you, and that green is perfect. So that's positioning. And then the last thing is utilize your save, guys. Save these guns. Like when you're on a 3v5, like in this round, or a four, like 2v4, whatnot, save the guns. Let them go. You know you're going to be on pistols the next round. Just, especially when you have the big green, and if he's going to be that like guy who's trying to get you onto that 4v5, let him do the work. Let him go and make them a little bit nervous so that you guys with the pistols have a more alleviated pressure. It doesn't hurt the economy, especially on CT side. Like, you're not being punished for saving. So you utilize the save more, is the best advice I can give. Overall, that's like the majority of the macro side that I saw. If you guys start working on that, that would be probably the best bet. Granted, there's a bunch of micro stuff that every player can do. We're not perfect. Pros aren't perfect. You can find habits, tendencies, things that players should and shouldn't do everywhere. Especially in like games like this. But I think those like core downs that I talked about, you should like definitely look into trying to find a solution for, and then keep maintaining the ups or look at the ups of what other people are doing and see how they do it. Like getting that first kill, yeah, might be an aim thing. But another thing is like it might be, hey, look, we're flashing out there, it's blinding the guy, we're getting that kill almost every time. Or we're mauling hut, so we don't have to look at hut when we do a hut rush. And because like this is actually huge, so look at the pathing. He's coming out here, so he's got the angle. But these two guys jump out and close. They don't have to worry about hut. Hut guy's not there. And they just got the kill here. Heaven guy is not going to be able to see them, so if they needed to, they could plant, smoke this off, and then play a game without even ever having to confront Heaven. So like utilize the util, take different pieces from each other. And I know both teams are definitely going to grow and improve from this. But that's been my 18-minute TED Talk. And thank you for listening. If you want more, or if you want to like talk about like what I think about how each player did, send a message. I'll happily answer it. Until next time.